We're having Good evening. All right. We're having technical difficulties, so we're not going to have the music. So, good evening and welcome to April 8th, 2019 Valley View School District Board Meeting. Ms. Campbell, would you please lead us in the pledge?
Stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ms. Gilbo, could you please read the affirmation of the Board of Education mission statement?
Our mission is to empower all learners to be college and career ready and to develop, grow, and achieve as productive citizens.
Thank you. Mr. Gerzafi, the agenda, please?
Yes, 4.1 is a recommendation to approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
All those in favor? Say yay. Any yay? The yays have it. Mr. Gervassi, the Treasurer's report?
Yes, Treasurer's Act Report 5.1 is the monthly report including the financial reports, balance sheets, summary of revenue and expenditures, as well as the interim obligation payments for March 2019 totaling $4,345,889.37 for your consideration this evening.
Any discussion or questions? Seeing none, hearing none, give a roll call vote, please.
Member Campbell?
Yes.
Member Gilbo?
Yes.
Secretary Sikora?
Yes.
President Pro Tem Zach?
Yes.
Treasurer's Act Report 5.2 is the schedule of bills for April 2019. There are 7 funds representing bills payable of $2,526,951.03 for your consideration and action.
So move.
Okay. Any questions or discussion? Seeing none, hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Member Gilbo?
Yes.
Member Campbell?
Yes.
Secretary Sikora?
Yes.
President Pro Tem Zach?
Yes.
In the packet, we also have the Treasurer's Information Report, Summary of Investments 5.3, the State Funding Update 5.4, as well as the School Trust Account Activities 5.5. Information only at this time.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Gary. Now, can we have the consent agenda items, Gary?
Yes, recommendation is to approve consent agenda items 6.1 through 6.7. 6.1 board meeting minutes of 3/25/19, executive session meeting minutes 3/25/19, gifts to Independence Elementary School, R.C. Hill Elementary, and Romeoville High. 6.4 is trip for Romeoville High School. 6.5 related services contract with Easter Seals, the Joliet Region Incorporated. 6.6 intergovernmental agreement extension with New Lenox School District 122. And 6.7 student activity contract approval request for Irene King Elementary with Scholastic Book Fair.
So move.
Motion is, okay, motion? Second. Any discussion or questions? Seeing none, hearing none, a roll call vote, please.
Member Gilbo?
Yes.
Member Campbell?
Yes.
Secretary Sikora?
Yes.
Vice President Zach?
Yes. Next on the agenda is going to be student and staff recognition. First one is going to be the middle school math contest champs. Brooks Middle School, principal is Dr. Wood, sorry.
Good evening, everyone. To the members of the Board of Education, senior leadership, and our school community, I'm Dr. Wood, principal of Brooks Middle School, and I'm very pleased to present the winner of the middle school math competition. But before I do that, on behalf of the middle school community, I'd like to thank Christy Vay, Amanda Fisher, and Carrie Locke for their efforts to provide this academic showcase opportunity for our students. I also like to thank all of the team sponsors, their parents, and all of our student participants. I also want to recognize AVM for their strong showing during this year's competition, and Jane Addams for taking good care of the Pythagoras Traveling Trophy for many years, many years. But at this time, I am pleased to bring forward Kevin Gatz, who has a few remarks regarding the winners of this year's competition. Mr. Gatz.
Thank you, Dr. Wood, members of the board. Before I go on and on about the hard work, perseverance, and bulldog tenacity that got us here as the Valley View Middle School Math Contest winners, I do want to take a moment and thank the parents that came out and brought these wonderful kids to us. It might sound a bit like blatant pandering to the crowd, but as a father of a 6-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 2-year-old, I can tell you that coaching this group of students is a full-on dream cruise compared to what these parents do for their kids every day. So I just wanted to thank them. That said, it's my pleasure to introduce the following Brooks Middle School Math Club members. Jeffrey Doncourt, Jasmine Germo, Johanna Germo, Abigail Jones, Tejas Patnick, Tammy Kwok, and Nikki Sheth.
We're quite proud of our team, and we look forward to many more years of competitive competition.
Okay. Thank you. Next up is middle school STEM champions, Mr. Gage.
Good evening, school board, parents. It is my distinguished honor to be able to celebrate some of our wonderful students at Lukanzik and Mr. Farmer, who is a science teacher with us. They had an exceptional performance at our STEM-cathlon. We'd also like to thank Ms. Christy Vey for putting on an event that was both remarkable in that one evening, but also for all of the practices that led up to it and gave our students a chance to be celebrated for all of their ingenious activities.
Thank you all for giving us an opportunity to come up here today. These guys worked really hard. They totally, I know we were all surprised. We're like, what? We actually won? So it was amazing to be up there, and we got all excited. So I do want to congratulate you guys for really working as hard as you guys did. You guys never gave up, and I know we went in there, we weren't sure we were going to do well, and obviously came out on top. So I do appreciate it, and thank you guys for working hard. So the first person up, Taylor Alexander. Emily Bohr. I feel like a graduation. Giselle Herrera. Abby Klepek. David Ruiz. And last but not least, Olivia Young.
Liaison report. We're going to have Bolingbrook first. Romeoville, sorry.
Good evening, board. My name is Abdullah Swaib, and I'm a junior at Romeoville High School. Last month, we hosted our Spartan Spirit Week and held a Powder Puff football game. We had over 40 young ladies play Powder Puff, and several football players were the coaches. From our game, we raised over $500. The money raised will be used to purchase paper products for the Ronald McDonald House and hygiene products for clients of the CASA program. Additionally, we will be taking spring goodie bags to the senior citizens at Senior Star in Romeoville. It was a great week, and we're proud of all of our students for their efforts in raising money to help our community. We'd also like to take note that upcoming in May, RHS students will be taking AP exams. This year we have 559 students signed up to take almost 957 tests. We're excited for the continued growth and opportunities for all within the AP program. I'd also like to add that our theater program is working on our children's play, and it was written by senior Emily Zimmer. It's surrounded around the theme of individuality, and we have 2 performances. The first is on Thursday, April 30th at 7, and that's open to everyone. And then on May 2nd, that's during the school, and that's when it's going to be in front of the elementary school students. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Lizbeth Gonzalez, and I am a sophomore at Romeoville High School. So a tradition at RHS for the April Institute Day has been teacher-led professional development. As part of Institute Day, for the past 3 years, our students have also had the opportunity to lead a professional development seminar for the staff. This year, there were 2 student-led seminars for teachers to attend. The first student-led session was from the MCJRTC program. Student cadets led staff members through a typical class session. Students also led their teachers through exercises, drill, the pledge, and the cadet creed. 16 cadets volunteered their time to lead their teachers through these exercises. The end of the session included a drill game that Mr. Simic won. The second session was led by students in the Leadership Club. That session was designed to create connections between students and staff. The session began with a scavenger hunt around the building, which had everyone up and moving and really gave an opportunity for the students to connect with the teachers. Next, the students and staff talked through various scenarios and had the opportunity to get a new viewpoint on various topics. We are grateful that our building allows students the opportunity to be part of this day, and we are proud of all the students who came in on this day off to continue to make our school the best it can be. We believe this is a tradition that should be continued for many years to come, and I personally participated in it, and I think that it was very enlightening for both the students and the teachers to get an opportunity to see the viewpoints of certain situations from both sides. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name's Maria Spencer. So Bolingbrook High School's prom is just around the corner. Tickets are on sale now for $65 at the bookstore. But in order to purchase a ticket, you must have your school ID, money in cash, and all of your school fees paid. And if you are looking to bring a guest forms are due April 10th. Thank you. Good evening, board members and community. My name is Nehal Kaur, and tonight I would just like to take a moment and acknowledge a teacher who has had a great impact on me, Ms. Seo. And Ms. Seo is currently my calculus teacher, and although many may believe that the word fun and math should never be used in the same sentence, she actually made math fun, and I found myself looking forward to that class every day. Aside from making the subject in class more lively, she's really worked hard to shape our personalities, and I can say with great certainty that she gave me a better outlook on my future. For the past 4 years, I have had many teachers and mentors, but no combination of 26 letters could ever do justice to explain how wonderful she really is. All in all, I'll keep this short and simple like her style, and I would just like to say one thing, and even though she couldn't be with us, thank you. No, she's not here with us today.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Ariana Barajas, and today I would like to speak about the recent fundraiser the math department had for our dedicated seniors. To support our peers, all the math classes at BHS competed to raise money for the fundraiser. To reward the classes, those who raised 100 or more were able to pay their math teacher, and as a whole, we were able to raise upwards of $1,200, allowing us not only to grant 2 seniors with their well-deserved scholarships, but also to pay our principal, Dr. Pascavage. Continuing on, I would also like to speak about the special games event Best Buddies recently attended. Best Buddies is a club that encourages and creates friendships between students and their fellow peers with cognitive or physical disabilities. Our Best Buddies chapter goes to special games every year, competing with schools such as Lincoln Way East, Joliet Central High School, Amos Alonzo Stagg High School, and many more. As a member of the club, I have gone twice, and I can say it's nothing but fun for everyone. Our Best Buddies friends compete with one another while we happily cheer them on. This opportunity has allowed us to come together and build stronger relationships with our friends and Best Buddies. Thank you.
Hello everyone. I just want to inform you guys that tomorrow we are taking the PSAT and the SAT. If you have a student that's taking this test, make sure they are relaxed tonight, like taking a hot bath, putting a face mask, anything that makes them have a good night. Make sure they have a healthy breakfast. If they're not coffee drinkers, don't drink it. It's not a good idea. And good luck to everyone. I also want to add on, congrats to our new board. Do you guys have any new questions for us?
Thank you. The board members, thank you for.
Okay. Thank you. Wish us all good luck.
We wish them all good luck on their tests. Okay, board member liaison report. From my left? Nothing. From my right? Nothing. Audience participation. Is there anyone that would like to address the board? If so, please state your name and remember that due to time restraints, you have 5 minutes. Okay. Superintendent's report. Mr. Grzaffi.
We'll begin with 10.1 is a recommendation to approve student due process case A as presented.
Second.
Any discussions or questions?
Yeah, I had a question. That's loud. If, I know that the teachers or whoever is in charge of the dog takes the dog home and takes care of the dog and also takes care of the dog while they're.
We're on student due process, right?
Sorry, next one.
No problem. So that takes care of our questions. Roll call vote, please.
Member Campbell?
Yes.
Member Gilbo?
Yes.
Secretary Sikora?
Yes.
President Pro Tem Zach?
Yes.
Action report 10.2 is a recommendation to approve resolution number 1921 relating to the semi-annual review of closed session minutes as presented.
So move.
Any questions or discussions? Seeing none, hearing none, a roll call vote, please.
Member Campbell?
Yes.
Member Gilbo?
No.
Secretary Sikora?
Yes.
President Pro Tem Zach?
Yes. Okay. Next is the action reports. Mr. Grzaffi.
I'm sorry, for
11.
11 action reports for item 11, there's no report.
No reports? Sorry. Mr. Grzaffi, actions?
Yes, 3 actions this evening, beginning with 12.1 is a recommendation to approve the intergovernmental agreement with the Bolingbrook Park District. Last year, we had piloted a joint usage of B.J. Ward Elementary for approximately 6 weeks in the summer for use by the Bolingbrook Park District to host a summer recreation program. They used the building intermittently, primarily when weather was bad, where they needed to be indoors, also for occasionally to have meals in the cafeteria and or the gymnasium. Both parties felt like an IGA was the best approach to outlining the reciprocity arrangement after a successful pilot. We had many meetings between parties, including school officials, administration, and Park District staff. The program would begin around June 17th of each year and extend through approximately July 26th. A small usage fee will be paid to the district by the Park District to cover costs of operations. And we are presenting this after it's been approved at the Park District's board meeting on March 21st. So we do recommend approval of the intergovernmental agreement as presented.
Motion?
So move.
Any questions or discussions?
Yeah, I do. Is this a new agreement with the school, with the Park District?
It is, yes.
Okay. And then I had a couple questions, actually. The equipment and the, well, I guess how does it work with the school equipment and the Park District equipment? What's the deal with all of that?
They primarily use portable equipment such as tables and chairs, net standards, basketball hoops, things that are attached to the building other than tables and chairs. But any athletic equipment, things of that nature that would be specific to an activity would need to be provided by the Park District. We did provide them a small closet for storage of materials for those 6 weeks, so they don't have to bring them back and forth.
So the park district brings theirs and leaves it there, is what you're saying?
Correct.
And then they don't use the school's equipment, they use their own equipment?
They use our tables and chairs,
Yeah.
things of that nature. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. And then I also had another question. This was, I think on page 5, number 2, it said, repairs made outside BJ Ward, something about BJ Ward doesn't handle that, and I guess I just kind of wanted to know what the boundary, what are the boundaries for that? It said something about BJ Ward does not handle anything outside of BJ Ward, but does that mean outside of their grounds, or does that mean actually outside of the building?
The BJ Ward campus is basically coterminous with the Anarino Center, and so I don't know exactly where the boundary line occurs. I could certainly provide you a detailed map so we know exactly, but we've had an agreement with the Park District for many, many years where maintenance and improvements are shared jointly depending on which side of the, where those repairs might be needed.
Okay. It's still for the kids in BJ Ward when they need to use it, and okay. And then I guess my last question, during the summer, if there is ever a need for the students themselves from the school to use the facilities, do they get precedence over the Park District?
Yes, we made that very clear during the pilot, and we asked the school to put together the list of dates that would be blacked out, if you will, and that's why we stayed away from anything that would flow into back-to-school days. That's why the program basically ends in late July. I think there's a 72-hour notice provision where we would have to notify them if there was some date that, you know, was a surprise or an urgent need. But for the most part, those dates are blacked out in advance, and the Park District's well aware of those.
Okay, thank you, Gary.
Okay. See no other questions. Could we have a roll call vote, please?
Member Campbell?
Yes.
Member Gilbo?
Yes.
Secretary Sikora?
Yes.
President Pro Tem Zach?
Yes.
Next is the exterior sports surfacing at various schools bid. We will be providing tennis court repairs and resurfacing at Romeoville High, Bolingbrook High, and Brooks Middle School. We'll also be providing running track repairs and resurfacing at Bolingbrook High, Romeoville High, Brooks, Lukansick, and Adams, as well as a track installation, including a rubber surface at Humphrey Middle School. Summary and scope of the work is included. I won't read that to you. The reason for the track installation at Humphrey is that their existing track does not have a rubberized track surface, as the others do, and the asphalt surface has exceeded its useful life. On March 13th, bids were received and opened and read aloud. We had 2 bids received. Integral Construction of Romeoville, Illinois, as well as Romas Incorporated from Glen Ellen, Illinois. At this time, we are recommending only the base bid. We had several alternates that were solicited. They were included to allow an evaluation of the individual scope of items versus their relative costs and our overall budget parameters. But we are recommending that we accept the low bid from Integral Construction. Their bid is confirmed to be fully compliant with our project specifications, and they have done some work for us last year at Bolingbrook High School. And so we are recommending awarding the contract for the tennis court repair and resurfacing at RHS, BHS, and Brooks, running track repair and resurfacing at Bolingbrook High, Romeoville High, Brooks, Lukansick, Adams, and Humphrey to the low bidder, Integral Construction, for the base bid amount of $1,160,320.
Motion, please.
So moved.
Do you have a second? Okay. Okay.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Okay. I asked this the last time, and I'll reiterate it. If Humphrey and some of these other schools have the tracks where they can host track meets, can we start having some of them instead of having everything at Brooks? Track meets are a tough one to host. I mean, there's so many workers and so much stuff going on that if we now, I know that Humphreys has been asphalt for a long time, and that's why we need to go to rubberized. can we then make sure that some of these schools are taking the brunt of and for some of the track meets for junior high?
Typically, administration does not get involved, if you will, in the who hosts what when. In asking from our activities council meeting, the way it's been conveyed to me is that it's a reciprocity type of arrangement where related to basketball or volleyball, they just kind of rotate it through. With track meets, I understand that that's been difficult, especially with Humphrey not being able to host. But I would hope with the new track that they would step up and offer their site as a viable option.
I just think that if we're going to spend this kind of money, then we need to host some meets at them. Otherwise, you know, the bad part about it is it's not good for the kids to run on for practice even. But if they're going to be that good, then we need to start hosting, and maybe we can talk to the athletic directors at the middle school to make sure that's moved around some, that's all.
We've got an activities council meeting this week. I will certainly raise that issue at the meeting.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, Gary. Also, I just want to make a comment is that maybe you could clarify this, Gary. You guys went out and we did a lot of this work because by doing more, we get a lower bid price on everything that's been done?
Certainly, if we chop this up over time and with different contractors, I don't think the bids would have been as aggressive, if you will, as it is with just one contractor.
Okay, thank you, Gary. Any other questions? Could we have a roll call vote, please?
Member Gilbo?
Yes.
Member Campbell?
Yes.
Secretary Sikora?
Yes.
President Pro Tem Zach?
Yes.
Last action item this evening is a construction management services contract for the sports complex at Romeoville High. We've attached an estimated budget for the project that reflects construction costs, contingency, and professional consultant fees and services. This total project cost is estimated to be $7,425,800. The proposal that White has provided includes construction management services similar to services provided in the past, similar to the full-day kindergarten project, as well as the expansion at the Early Childhood Center. White would be the single point of responsibility for the construction activities for the entire project. They would also be responsible for the coordination of construction scheduling, overall quality of work, required bidding of trades, and closeout of the project. Our target timeline is to have all the fields ready for the use of beginning in the 2020 spring season. At this time, we are recommending approval of the construction management services proposal from White as presented herein and subject to final attorney approval.
So moved.
Second.
Second. Any discussion or questions?
Yeah, I do. Gary, I have a question for you. What is cost plus agreement?
The cost plus agreement is that we're basically agreeing to a fee to be provided to White as their profit, if you will, and then any costs associated with the services provided, such as a construction trailer or a dumpster or anything that's not included as part of the trade bids would be the plus portion of the contract. And so there's usually, in any contract, there's a line known as general conditions. And again, those general conditions cover things that are basic to a construction project, but aren't really related to the construction per se, such as, again, a construction trailer, dumpsters, a street sweeper that might have to come in and sweep the neighborhood streets if you know there was mud and things like that from the construction. Those would be considered general conditions and would be, again, part of the plus portion of that cost plus.
Do they give us any notice on the plus?
All of those costs would be illustrated and submitted for approval. So we would have receipts of all of that and make sure that it's within reason.
So they let us know ahead of time before they.
Not necessarily. I mean, we don't need to approve every dumpster that's requested. But again, we would get the receipt for that dumpster and make sure it's certainly within reason. If we saw, 6 dumpsters being charged to our job every month, you'd have to ask, is that really, do we need that many? And I'm just using that as an example. But all of those plus considerations would be submitted for approval, but after the fact.
Huh. Okay, and then we're using White.
Correct.
Do we have I mean, I know they have punch lists and different things like that, but accountability on the work that's done, could we, I mean, in the contract, what is the time? So let's say there's something that's not holding up the way it should, or something that is missing, or something that is not done properly. What is the time frame that White will come back to fix what they messed up, if they did?
Again, most of the contracts will be with various subcontractors. White's not actually doing the work. They're
Right.
they're managing the work.
Right, they're the ones that are in
Typically,
charge.
you'll have a 12-month or 1-year workmanship warranty, parts and labor, on any equipment.
1 year, you're saying?
2 years?
2 months? 2 years? Okay, yeah, I just want to make sure that there's accountability for the quality of work, if there are any issues, and I wanted to know what that time frame was.
I think with the longstanding history we have with White, there have been times where that time period has lapsed, and we've asked them to come back and take a look and see what might be going on with the situation, and they have time and again stepped up and covered those costs to make things, correct things that maybe are deficient or not up to snuff.
Okay, so I guess the conclusion to all of this is when and before and during the time that they're working on these facilities, this is a lot of money that would be spent, you know, over $7 million, almost $8 million. I would ask that those that are using the facilities or in charge of the facilities, or both, would be consulted on some of the things that are going on. So if they're the ones that are going to be using the facilities, is this what you would like? Is this to your liking? Is this to your needs? Could they be checking in with those that are will be using the facilities, and those that will be in charge, like the athletic directors?
Yeah, great point. If there's one of the things I've learned in all my years in doing this, it's make sure you get feedback from those that are going to be the end user. Because for someone like myself to make a decision about what color the turf should be or the floor, you know, that's not going to fly. And so they have, the folks that you mentioned, the ADs, the coaches, the principals, the administration of RHS have been involved almost from the get-go. And will also be invited to the weekly construction meetings to monitor progress, provide input, provide feedback. If you know, they're parking in a place where they shouldn't be parking, you know, that'll be addressed at those weekly construction meetings.
Okay, thank you.
I had a question also. Did we get this is an action report. Did we get an information report about this?
The information report was presented back, I believe, in October.
But did it include White and this whole big contract?
No, I think what we did is when we brought a concept to you, and I don't remember exactly which month it was, regarding the potential intergovernmental agreement with the Village of Romeoville. Correct. To construct the project. As part of that would have been a contract very similar to this, where we would hire a construction manager to manage the scope of the project. After we have had a lot of discussion, both with legal and with Village of Romeoville staff, it was determined that it was just a really ungainly relationship to manage our project on our site with our dollars by somebody other than Valley View. And so we were prepared to have a very large meeting, and we just felt like it was not going to be productive, fruitful to move forward. And so I guess with that, the idea was that we still needed to proceed with a construction manager, and so that's why the contract is in front of you this evening.
Okay. Just because it was like a 28-page contract, and trying to read it kind of puts you to sleep. I hate to say that, but so, you know, we just need to make sure we get information reports about things before we have action reports is all I'm asking again. Thank you.
Yes, going back to that informational report, going forward, I think it's really important, especially when it's coming out of the Finance Committee, is that we do the information report so we know when they have questions to be asked.
Yeah, fair enough. I think we took a lot more time trying to address that intergovernmental agreement relationship that we were exploring. And had we not done that, we kind of found ourselves up against a tight time frame here, and that's why we're bringing it direct to action. But duly noted, and it's a fair comment. Thank you.
Do we have any other questions? Seeing none, hearing none, could we have a roll call vote, please?
Member Campbell?
Yes.
Member Gilbo?
Yes.
Secretary Sikora?
Yes.
President Pro Tem Zach?
Yes. Okay, action report for human resources. Dr. Nash.
Thank you. This evening, action report 13.1 is our consolidated action report for certified and classified personnel. This evening, we're seeking your approval on 54 items for certified personnel, 42 items for classified personnel, and 1 item for classified administrative personnel.
Second.
Any questions or discussion? Seeing none, hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Member Campbell?
Yes.
Member Gilbo?
Yes.
Secretary Sikora?
Yes.
President Pro Tem Zach?
Yes.
Action report 13.2. This evening, we are seeking your approval for the 3 classified administrative job descriptions that were brought for your review as information at the March 25th board meeting. Those job descriptions are for the Administrative Computing School Information Systems Lead, the SIS lead, the Administrative Computing Operations Lead, and the Administrative Computing SQL Developer, which is Structured Query Language.
So moved.
A motion, do we have a second? Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, seeing none, may I have a roll call vote, please?
Member Gilbo?
No.
Secretary Sikora?
Yes.
President Pro Tem Zach?
Yes.
Member Campbell?
Yes.
Superintendent's informational report, Ms. Kinder.
Yes, sir. Just one information report this evening. Information report 14.1. I'm bringing to, prior to seeking approval, a revised school calendar for the 1920 school year. The original 1920 calendar was approved by the Board of Education in July 2018. At this time, it was communicated that the calendar is subject to change dependent on collective bargaining language and/or state mandates. If further changes are required after approval, then we then bring an additional draft back for consideration. So due to updated state guidance and communication, senior leadership and union leadership have reviewed the previously reviewed calendar together to make adjustments. So I've presented that draft that's available for your preview and is available to the public as well on board docs. And the main changes that you will see in this calendar are that we had to add 1 student attendance day. The Illinois State Board of Education issued additional guidance in January 2019 that was requiring public school calendars to assure a minimum of 176 actual pupil attendance days, as opposed to the previously required 175 days. As such, an additional school day has been added to the 1920 calendar. In considering this and speaking with our union president, we discussed having the option of early release on the first and last day of the school year to support our educators with the beginning and end of year demands and to support the transition into the new school year for our learners. The other most notable change is the move of spring break from the week of April 13th to the week of March 30th. ISB, Illinois State Board of Education, released additional guidance that was a change from what we are anticipating for the administration of the high school exam for our SAT, PSAT tests. The initial test date is April 14th, and then that's followed by makeup and accommodated testing window. On the previously approved calendar, we had spring break scheduled for that week. So we needed to move the date of spring break, and the best option was to move that up. In conversation with union leadership, we again considered the other most notable feedback that we had received previously about spring break, and that was the alignment with our surrounding districts. So for that reason, we selected the week of March 30th for the moved spring break. So as I communicated earlier, the calendar would be subject to change if any additional guidance came from the state board or if there was any changes with any other mandates or collective bargaining language. So I'm happy to answer any questions now up until the next board meeting when I will be seeking your approval on the updated draft.
Thank you, Ms. Kinder. Legal Service, any report?
No formal report.
AFT, any report? Valley View Council, any report? And we have an email from Valley View office personnel with no report. Any old business from the board?
I do have something. I was just wondering, I'd like to know kind of where we're going and what we're doing with our new superintendent search. So I don't really know if we want to discuss it now or if we want to put it on the agenda to discuss it later, or how we want to, what we want to do with that. I know we got a little bit of information, but.
Well, my recommendation is, since the votes is not certified to set to 21 days, that we would at least wait to that time period before we would move forth to make any decisions or go in any directions.
Could you repeat that, Liz? That was hard for me to hear.
That's right. Because we have not sworn in the ballots to be certified as 21 days after the election. And since, you know, we don't know, God works in mysterious ways, we don't know what will happen in these next upcoming days. So my recommendation would that we would be waiting to that point in time before we would go in any directions. We probably could have some discussion about it, but I wouldn't think that anything would be done until we have sworn in the board members from this past election.
Ms. Campbell, that makes perfect sense. Mr. Driscoll, you agree with that?
Yeah, obviously no steps are being taken yet. I was directed to search out some search firms, and I've asked for the search firms to send us some proposals. So those should be coming in the next short time frame, and then I'll share that with Ms. Campbell and the rest of the board.
Thank you. And then when you bring those proposals, could that be part of the discussion before? I think, Liz, you have a good point. So I think, could we still make discussion before that point, before we make a decision? Is it the 23rd that our,
29th.
The 29th is when our board members are, the final counts are in? Or the 23rd?
It's the 23rd that the certification happens, and then I believe the next board meeting is on the 29th when they're sworn in. Correct.
So we would be able to have some type of discussion when you find out the information, just to discuss in advance, so we are prepared for when we are going to make some decisions?
That's not my decision. That's up to the board folks.
You're right.
Yep.
I'm sorry.
Yes, you will be able to put that on the agenda if that's the discussion that you want us to have at that particular time. You have that right to bring it to the board president at that time, along with the superintendent, to make that an agenda item, and then we could discuss it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any new business from the board? Any questions from the public on any action that we have taken tonight? Any announcements from our board?
Yes. I'd like to thank everybody who came to the Valley View Enrichment Foundation dinner last Friday night. It was a great time, and we will later let you know about the grants and how those came out. But we really thank everybody who came and everybody who donated money or bought one of the auction items. Thank you so much.
That was a lot of fun, too, by the way. You guys did a great job. I have a couple announcements. Romeoville Recreation Department is going to have an Easter Bash on Dale Blum Football Field at 6 p.m. on Friday, April 12th, for all youngsters that would like to come. And there will be another Easter egg hunt in Romeoville at the Rock Presbyterian Church at 2 Belmont in Romeoville at 3 p.m. the very next day on Saturday, 4/13. Thank you.
Question, you said the little ones, what are the ages for those Easter egg hunts?
I believe it's 10 and under.
Any announcements from the administration? Any announcements from the public? Could I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All those in favor, aye? A second?
Second.
We got a second there. All those in favor say aye?
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned. Have a good evening, folks.